Hey y'all, it's your captain for all things creative coming at you with the House of the Dragon Season 2 Episode 6 review. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff. And if you're returning, you know we can get into a lot of things, so let's get into this episode. So first you see the Lannister army marching on behalf of the Greens. And it tripped me out because they actually had a lion. Like, I know a lion is like their sigil, but the real lion in the cage was a bit much. And the army is gathering troops and they taking a rest at the tooth. And they basically say that they're going to wait till Aemond comes with Vhagar before marching to Harrenhal. So they send a little message for him. And Aemond gets the message and he is 38 hot. In this episode, Aemond is really feeling himself. He's glad that, he's regent. And he's just pissed that the Lannisters are calling him out. He's like, I'm not some dog they could go, order around and fetch. He's been second place all his life as the second son, and now he's first. And he is in it to win it, So his mom tries to calm him down, talk some sense into him, but he basically cuts her off and explains that he want to ask Sir Thailand to help him get the ball rolling on becoming allies with the Triarchy, which Otto Hightower helps with. So it's inevitable, that he asked for Otto Hightower back. But that's when he said that. That's when I knew he was gonna get Otto Hightower back. But then someone else on the council offers the idea that they pimp Alicent out to the Greyjoys for help from the Red Kraken, and she says, no, I'm done with that, because she already did that with Viserys, right? And Sir Kristen Cole backs her up on that. It's like, nah, let's not do that. Even though they're beefing a little bit, he don't really want, his little lady friend gone like that. And then Aemond, I think, peeps game, and Kristen stopped him from, finishing off Aegon. So Aemond takes this chance to separate them. He's like, listen, Sir Crappy Cole, why don't you go back to battle in the Riverlands? He's like, it's time for you to go. He's like, we're going to fight this battle on two fronts. We're going to have the Lancers come in from one side and you going to come in from the other side. And Cole tries to object since they're all low-key afraid of what the Road Prince Daemon got going on out there. But Cole also says, he lost a lot of his troops at Rook's Rest. And the way he brings up Rook's Rest and look at Aemond kind of was low-key blackmailing, threatening, kind of like, remember what you did at Rook's Rest kind of look. But Aemond just doubles down. It's like, yeah, now you really need to go. And Larys backs up Aemond, and Sir Crappy Cole gets sent back outside to go fight, even though he was playing fancy as the hand. Next, you see the meeting basically ended, and Aemond gonna call Alicent to the carpet. And it was so sad because he didn't let his mama speak at the meeting, and then he just got into his Shawnee O'Neal bag and basically thanked his mother for her services and just dry fired Alicent from off the small council. And I cackled because she was shocked. And he basically tells her to go back to do domestic lady work. So she did not raise him well. We all know they might have been better off being raised by wolves at this point. And she tries to kind of reach out to him about being bullied as a child. But he was like, thank you for your service again. She just started crying, realizing that this little boy is cold-blooded. So next you see Corlys and the Blacks, and Corlys is officially the hand of the queen. He got his pin on. Shout out to him. And they're strategizing at the fancy Dragonstone light up table with all the candles in the bottom. I really love that table, even though it's a fire hazard. I wish there's like a safe version. But they start talking about the dragon seed idea, So then they're going to ask Stefan Darkland to try to take one of the tame dragons that are there. Since they got Seasmoke, Vermithor, and Silverwing, right? And then there are wild dragons like Sheepstealer, which I think is who we saw next to Rhaena, but we'll get to that. And there's also the cannibal, but the cannibal too wild. And in this episode, they start to, show us who and who's going to ride some of the tame dragons, right? So Lord Darkland, he's in his full knight costume. He should have borrowed that Valerian armor that Aegon used. Because, this dragon was in mourning. They forgot that, Seasmoke been wilding out, just crying, flying around. He's not in a good state. And similarly, Daemon is not in a good state. He's bugging out in Harrenhal. And then you get yet another jumpy or duppy or ghost scene where, Daemon is thinking about when he wasn't there for Viserys in his time of mourning, and he said, the heir for a dayline, and he gets banished for good, so he's crying about that. But we're all tired of Daemon in Harrenhal losing his mind, right? So then Daemon takes it back and finally leaves, and I was like, oh yes, please let him leave. But then Alice River stops him and tells him that he ain't the main player in this grand game, but he's just a piece on the game board, She also tells him that the crown is not a prize to be won, but a burden to bear. So she's spitting good advice, and he's realized that it's good advice, and he's at his wit's end, literally. So he asks her for counsel with the River Lords, and she tells him to count on the Tullys. And then she gets her little barn owl friend on her arm, and I think that's her true body. She's given skin changer / warg / witch, all of that. And then she tells him to wait 3 days and the tides will turn. So then we back at Dragonstone. And they wake up Seasmoke. And then messy people on Twitter put the African print hat on the dragon's head. Because when I say that this dragon was not feeling this Darkland man, Seasmoke was growling at the man, something vicious. And the man pretended not to, know or care. He acting brave, and I guess he's seen the possibility of glory in riding this godlike creature, right? So then once Seasmoke acts like he's kind of calming down, the Darkland man walks over and he's close to the saddle. He's like, oh, I did it. And this Seasmoke said, psych, and blasted that fool with fire. And Seasmoke was like, listen, don't bring around these strangers. No new friends. No new friends. No. Not right now, right? So then Jace got his mama and like, he ran out there. He's like, come on, we're not getting burnt up today. And some people on Twitter were saying this foreshadowing. If you read the books, this scene, at first it hit me that way, but when you look back, if you know, you know, right? But then you see also Rhaenyra looks a little guilty because this man died off of this kind of harebrained looking idea, but it's still a good idea. So then you see the sea snake Corliss trying to holler at his bastard son again. And you see the son is trying to hide his little white hair under a little do-rag that's makeshift and oversized. And then he's basically telling him that, this boat is just fixed. I want you to go on it. I think it's going to be good for you. And he's like, is this an order or suggestion? And he's like, nah, you go in. So then you see the other Dragon Seed group, Ulf. Now, this scene shows perfectly how the blacks are going to now be into the, propaganda game and using the power of the small folk through Massaria, to start riling up things from within the walls of King's Landing, right? So Ulf's trying to get food, but his soup is thin because they ain't got supplies for it. They don't really got ingredients except fish. And Aemond's favorite working girl is in the background talking about how the people in the Red Keep are feasting while everybody out there is starving. And you also see a scene of like goats being carted off to the palace in front of Ulf. And he gets mad talking about, hey, I want to eat too. So the frustration through the small folk, again, you're seeing through some of the dragon seeds like Ulf and Hugh Hammer. And Hugh Hammer's wife apparently was in line trying to get food. She couldn't get none. So the frustration of the people is building along with Massaria spreading rumors of everybody feasting and whatnot up in the palace, when the sheep was probably for the dragon, especially Vhagar. You see one of the best scenes in the whole episode. Because one of the council members who've been acting up, not listening to Rhaenyra, is walking behind her. They say his name is Lord Celtigar, and apparently he was like, you know, getting on her last good nerve because these men been acting up, not listening to her. And while he's telling her about how harebrained her idea is, she turns around mid-sentence and just smacks the sonic coins out of him. Rhaenyra puts up this strong front, but she is a little upset about the plan not working out. And Mysaria comforts Rhaenyra once again and just says, she's on the right track and tells her the idea is still good about getting riders for these dragons. And then she also reports that the plans to rile up the people to rebel against the Red Keep is working. So then you see Larys trying to explain to Aemond that, listen, you got to pay attention to the small folk, They tried to bring it up before, but then Aemond's idea was to close the gate. And Larys is saying the people are starving and they need food. So then Aemond asks, why are the people not mad at Rhaenyra for blocking off, the ports and places where the food gets shipped in bulk? And Lord Larys just basically said it's still our job to look after the people. They don't see things that way. And then Larys asks if Aemond's not going to pick a hand for himself. And Aemond's like, all right, fine, do it. And this scene is really funny because Larys is thinking, oh, like me do it? So he's like, oh, I would never consider it, this is an honor. And Aemond stops on his track. He's like, no, you toad. He calls that man a toad. As like, do it, but, go get my grandsire, go get back Otto, basically same word for the original hand that silly Aegon dismissed, right? So that's the smart decision that Aemond made, and he did it so cold-bloodedly, and I think he got on Larys's bad side there. So any other moves that Larys makes on behalf of Aegon is going to stem from this moment right here, right? So then the maester then comes in and tells everybody that Aegon done woke up, and Aemond says he's going to pay him a visit. And I was like, oh no. This was the evilest sibling visit I've ever seen. So Aemond asks Aegon, what you remember? And Aegon is uncomfortable. He's literally trying to little slide away from Aemond because he knows he's in danger. And anybody could have told him, yeah, you in danger, girl. And then Aegon's like, nothing. I don't remember nothing. I don't even know who I am. What's my name? And Aemond gets pressing on his burns and just threatening him real close, and it's like, yeah, you know nothing and stay that way. And he's even telling the maester, his recovery gonna be long, basically just telling him to stay in bed and stay out the way. Oof. So next you see Rhaena basically finding evidence of a dragon in the Vale who burnt up a sheep. And the only thing I was thinking is that I'm pretty sure it's the dragon sheep stealer. They say it's a wild dragon who basically has a very wide range of just flying and killing to get what it wants, and it burnt up some sheep and some land where the sheep be at. So apparently it likes livestock like that. So I'm thinking it's sheep stealer, and I'm just praying that they bet not give the plot that Nettles is supposed to have to Rhaena. I'll be so pissed. But I'm staying calm. I'm just hoping that they're kind of introducing the idea of sheep stealer and they'll give us Nettles. But again, it's seeming like they want to give Nettles plot to Rhaena because we keep seeing her. So next you see the Hall brothers talking. It's Adam and Alan Hall, right? And the bald one was showing why he was wearing that big do-rag and why he shaves his head all the times, because his hair does grow in white like the Valerians, and he's trying to hide it. And next you see Jace reminding Rhaenyra that they kind of need Daemon. And while Jace, is talking to Rhaenyra, she's getting upset a little bit. But then Mysaria kind of butts in, and Rhaenyra's happy to see her. And you see Jace kind of clocking that the mom's relying on Mysaria more than him. It was like this little look. Exact scene. He's kind of like looking away after, Mysaria makes the announcement about like, oh, the gift is sent. And then he's like, what gift? And then he's like, oh, so you got inside jokes with this lady? Like, I'm sitting here trying to, love on you and protect you and give you ideas and confide in you, but you're not confiding me. So I think Jace might have got a little jealous there. That's so cute. But stay out of grown folks' business, Jace, because as we see later, Rhaenyra and Mysaria got a thing going on. Especially since Rhaenys died, I guess Rhaenyra's appreciating another woman's advice, and company, So then, what was the gift? So we all know that the people of King's Landing have been starving. We've seen Ulf hungry. We've seen Hugh the Hammer's wife stand around for hours for food and not get it. So what does Rhaenyra do? With her messy self, through Mysaria, she sends some boats full of free lunch. Just like how we used to call it in, public school New York. She put her little dragon flag on the boat, her signature sigil, so everybody know that, hey, the true queen has your back. And when I tell you that the people who found the boats felt like Christmas came early, it was amazing, right? With Alicent talking to her brother and asking about her son Darren, right after the Plan B T Maester brought her all the updates, so she kind of knows what's going on, even though she got fired, so she doesn't visit her son Aegon, so she can't really talk to him because he's like in the sick and shut-in list. Aemond done fired her, so now she's thinking about her other son Darren, who she really don't know because this man is telling her everything about him. And I think Darren's going to be introduced next season. And when the brother explains that Darren is actually a good kid, both Alicent and her brother get to shading the other sons and blaming the Red Keep for not being a good environment to raise good kids. And then Alicent's guilty conscience made her ask if it was the court or their mom who made them the way they are. And I would say it's a bit of both. And then you see Sir Crappy Cold paint Alicent dust, basically, and going away with Alicent's brother to war. And then Helena was being innocent, minding her business, so she always gets love around here. She's attending to her caged bugs and creepy crawler collection. Y'all remember them toys? Creepy crawlers. Helena had the creepy crawlers, like version 1. But then she's alarmed because she announces that one of them stopped singing. And I think that was foreshadowing of the people who are like caged in King's Landing and not being happy and singing no more because they starving. So then Alicent gonna ask Helena to come to church to light candles for Aegon. And we see it's not the time to go outside. So even though Hugh the Hammer was nice with the dog, petting him, and you see he's loving with his daughter, when he's pushed to a corner, he can be very, very vicious in his desperation. Hint for the future of what he does. He's not to be trusted when desperate times come, because he gonna use them desperate measures, because when he's seeing the free and the free lunch, in these bags, he literally punches down somebody for their bag of lunch and steals it. So you see the little cruelty there, and the little, the little side that he'll do anything when he's pushed to a corner. So keep that in mind. This next scene would have been absolutely perfect if Helena wasn't there and it was just Alicent getting rocked. But we see again that Alicent had asked Helena to come to church, so they lighting candles and whatnot. And then you see the guards interrupt their little, private service because Rhaenyra's free riot is officially happening. And they're telling the queens, listen, queens, y'all got to get out of the church. And people are upset because some people got their little bag lunch free and others didn't. So they're rioting. They're mad at, the Hightower administration, right? So the girls, get to running out, and I was like, leave it to Alicent to further traumatize poor Helaena by dragging her outside on riot day when Alicent was going to church by herself all the time, So when the guards started escorting them, somebody shouts at Alicent and calls her the queen of the fishes. Since fish is about all they can get, and they throw some rotting fish at her, so her face is covered in like fish guts and blood or whatever. And Helaena pauses kind of in shock while they're running. So then when Alicent turns to see her, she falls down in the street and starts kind of almost rolling a little bit. So then when Helaena stopped, though, I think, if I remember correctly, during Jaehaerys's funeral, she saw herself and Alicent running down that same street because it's the same route that they took. And during that funeral, I saw them two running together in them green dresses for like a half second, so you can tell that Helaena really does see the future. And I think it gave her the heebie-jeebies. Like, she was like, oh, this is deja vu. Like, I definitely saw this scene before. But then, like I said, Alicent done rolled down on the ground while Helena's having her deja vu. And then a commoner just tries to help the queen. And was actually being nice, was like, my queen. But then one of, I think, Aegon's goofy appointed guards chops off the poor guy's hand. And even Alicent's like, bruh, you tell the people are upset. This nice one is trying to help me, and you chop their hand off in front of everybody. So this makes everybody mad. And then the people start attacking the guards, and the girls barely make it down to the carriage. But Alicent is banged up. She gets her arm cut, and she did protect Helaena a little bit, but she shouldn't have had Helaena out there in the first place. So the moment between Aegon and Larys over being handy capable. And Larys is just talking about his journey of being born differently abled, because he said when he came out the womb, his foot was so twisted that his father accused someone in Harrenhal of sorcery. And I thought, hello, y'all didn't see that witch? Alice Rivers right there, pounding down all them potions and, having the owls come in and out of y'all house, but whatever. So then he then warns Aegon about keeping his head on the swivel with Aemond prowling around for power like he is. And I do think Larys sees himself in Aegon now that Aegon is like burnt up and is going to lose the use of his legs and everything. And Aemond basically humiliated him and emasculated him in front of everybody, calling him a toad and whatnot. So Larys is team Aegon clearly. And again, you're going to see Larys get his lick back a little bit in the fight to get Aegon back to the throne. So then you see Daemon is just going through it some more. He's having another jumpy dream about Viserys, but then he gets the good news that the older Tully fella then went on to glory. So the little Tully that he spoke to before is now in charge, and they basically imply that Alice Rivers did have something to do with it, because they're like, yeah, she tried to help, but there's nothing she could do. And I was like, She gave him that brew, that Jesus brew that sent him straight to the king. But then Seasmoke go and claim his rider, because it was funny that, they had all this talk about, finding riders to claim the dragons. And Seasmoke was like, listen, I am in mourning. I have feelings too. I'm going to go, reminisce. And I guess maybe the area around Driftmark where Corlys and his half-brothers are called to him. I don't know if he was reminiscing about Rhaenyra. And then he caught a whiff of, Adam smell. But basically, he's like doing reverse Pokemon, because Seasmoke was like, I choose you. So basically, The dragon claims the sea snake's bastard son with the braids or the dreadlocks. And this is the first dragon seed success story. And again, the messy people on Twitter put like a kente cloth hat on him because he rejected, I guess, the white knight, but he chose the black sun. It's just comedy on there. But Seasmoke, I think, recognized the family blood. Like, that's literally like the closest he could have got to Rhaenyra was his brother, right? So then Rhaenyra and Mysaria talk again. And Rhaenyra tells her, her little feelings about Daemon, how, they kind of wanted each other at first, but it's all gone bad. And then Mysaria explained that her father was the one who gave her the scar on her neck, amongst other horrible things that I'm not even going to repeat. So Rhaenyra really feels for her and gives her a hug. Then the hug lingers and lasts a little long before they get to making out. And then a guard comes in, breaks up the little canoodling, and shares to Rhaenyra that Seasmoke has a rider now. And Rhaenyra's like, what? Because she don't know who done claimed this dragon. She don't know if it's a greed person that snuck in and got him. She don't know if it's like a friendly person. So Rhaenyra finally tied us into the side because this is her plan, her baby with Jace. It's actually Jaceres's plan, but she co-signed it and she's invested. So she mounts Syrax to go see what's popping with Seasmoke, and it was cool to see Syrax again. We seen Syrax from since season 1. She used to ride it all the time when she was younger, but it was good to see our queen on Dragonback. So that's where the episode goes off. And again, I need nettles. I don't want to see Rhaena claim sheep stealer. They showed a little ugly brown dragon in the trailer, and that's what sheep stealer is. Sheep stealer is pretty big for a wild dragon, but like they say, it's a skinny brown dragon, and Nettles is supposed to be the skinny brown girl on the skinny brown dragon. But if they make Rhaena claim sheep stealer, I might half boycott, but I'll still watch, but I'll just watch sadly. So, yeah, say what you think about the episode, your favorite moments, everything that happened. This episode was thrilling. Like I said, Helena should have been spared. It should have just been Alicent getting rocked down to the free riot, but it's neither here nor there at this point. We're gonna have 2 more episodes left. Usually the second to last episodes of Game of Thrones used to be the best in the season, so I'm expecting this next episode to be super good. And the last episode's kind of cliffhang us, but all the episodes have been good. So no matter what, remember, you're the master of your fate and the captain of your soul, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.